Senator from Darlington, for what purpose do you rise?
That's for the purposes of a second.
Senator from Darlington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, my honor to rise here to second the nomination. Our dear friend, the former President pro tempore, former Lieutenant Governor, and the current President of the College of Charleston, Glenn McConnell, had a nickname that he gave the Senator from Anderson with the utmost affection. That nickname he bestowed on the Senator from Anderson was the moderate voice of the radical right. It is that voice that I rise to nominate as our President pro tempore and our next Lieutenant Governor, and say goodbye to a voice that this body will dearly miss. Although we are from different parties, the Senator from Anderson never saw an impediment to working together. He always understood, as some regretfully do not, that no matter what label we don to get to Columbia, that when we arrive here, when we are on this floor and on this Senate chambers, and when we act, that we play for the same team. And that team is the state of South Carolina. He always wanted that team to win. It is with that mindset that the Senator from Anderson governed. He worked to make South Carolina the best state that he thought it could be. He introduced and fought for legislation that his values and philosophy taught him was best. But along the way, he would listen to the other side and take suggestions to improve his bills when he felt it was necessary. He would hold the line, a hard line. But he'd always find ways to compromise, but never surrender his principles or what he believed in. He understood that sometimes a grand compromise was better than a glorious defeat. And that is why he was able to achieve victories when no one believed a victory was possible. It was because of these traits that he went from simply being a member of this body to being a statesman within this body. And I have great memories of Senator from Anderson on a personal side during one of our darkest hours when we lost our brother, Clemente Pinckney. I got countless text messages from Senator Bryant. He told me, he says, Ann can't stop crying for those children. And he talked about grace, and he talked about forgiveness, and he talked about wisdom, humility, and with reconciliation. And he followed through. Back in November this past year, he called me up and says, I want to work on something with race reconciliation. He said, would you come to Anderson? So I go to Anderson, and we sat there in a room, and we took all the questions, and we talked. And we went back, and we had pizza, and then Miss Bryant called us and gave us breakfast. Miss Bryant, Mr. Bryant, thank you for having us in your home. And he talked to about what he wanted South Carolina to end up being. It was difficult for him during that time because Senator Bryant didn't just honor what the polls said in his district. And it was during that time that the Confederate flag came down. His poll number said one thing, his heart said another. It was a place in time. So we have some personal things that we have gone over in the Senator from Spartanburg, the force to be reckoned with. May the force be with you. We have this thing also that when many said that, how do you get along with the Senator from Darlington? Well, we had a package deal. Truth is better than harmony, and I don't need anyone to tell me yes, but I need everyone to tell me the truth. And when he says that, he finishes with a chitty chitty, bang bang. So I have no reservation in nominating the senator from Anderson to preside over this body, because I know that while his political ideology points him to the right, that his moral compass is firmly centered on doing what is right. He will act competently and fairly, and with the goal of doing what is best for our state. And that is all that we can hope for. I would miss the senator from Anderson, and he will leave big shoes to fill. It will be his leaving and the legacy of his accomplishments that will hopefully set the example for someone to emulate. If there could be a silver lining to losing the senator from Anderson, it would be that his loss will lead to the rise of 3 or 4 other senators who agree to pick up the mantle of his service that he leaves behind and agree to shepherd that example to the next generation of elected officials. And as we know, even the Son of Man did not come here to be served, but came to serve and gave his life as a ransom for many. And Senator Bryant has given up his life, part of his life, for public service. And so with that in mind, and on the heels of those that came before him, I humbly put into nomination as the next president pro tempore of the Senate and our next lieutenant governor, my friend, the senator from Anderson, Senator Kevin Bryant. Thank you.
Senator from Darlington, do you also move to close the nominations? Senator from Darlington moves to close the nominations and elect the senator from Anderson, Senator Kevin L. Bryant, as president pro tempore of the Senate. Yes, sir. Senator from Kershaw.
Unanimous consent, the words of the 2 senators be placed in the journal.
Without objection. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. I hereby declare that the senator from Anderson, Senator Kevin L. Bryant, is elected as president pro tempore of the South Carolina Senate. Congratulations, Senator.